Today we explore a hidden gem of philosophy, Plato's Theaetetus. Unlike Plato's well-known works such as the Republic or the Symposium, Theaetetus often remains overlooked. Yet it's in this dialogue that we find one of the richest explorations of a timeless question. What is knowledge? This is not a simple discussion. It's a journey into the very nature of human understanding. With Socrates as our guide, we'll navigate ideas that are as relevant today as they were over 2,000 years ago. The dialogue begins with Theaetetus' daring claim: knowledge is perception. Imagine a world where everything you know is tied to what you see, hear, touch, taste, or smell. At first glance, this seems intuitive. After all, isn't perception our gateway to the world? But Socrates, with his sharp questioning, reveals the profound challenges hidden within this idea. Join me as we unravel why perception, while crucial, might not be the ultimate foundation of knowledge. Together, we'll examine its strengths, uncover its limitations, and explore how these insights remain essential in our modern world of illusions and misinformation. Core analysis: knowledge as perception. 1. Relativity of perception. Theaetetus' claim aligns with the teachings of Protagoras, who famously declared, "Man is the measure of all things." This suggests that perception is inherently subjective, varying from person to person. Examples from everyday life. Taste: a spicy dish might delight one person but overwhelm another. Sight: colors can appear different under various lighting conditions. Socrates questions whether knowledge can rely on something so variable. If perception differs among individuals, how can it lead to universal truths? 2. The fallibility of the senses. Socrates points out that our senses, though essential, are often deceptive. Classic examples: a stick appears bent when submerged in water, even though it remains straight. In a foggy environment, a distant figure might appear larger or smaller than it truly is. Modern insights from neuroscience. Optical illusions, like the Miller-Lyer illusion, show how context influences what we perceive. Cognitive biases can alter how we interpret sensory data, proving that perception alone cannot guarantee accuracy. 3. The variability of perception based on conditions. External factors such as light, temperature, or distance can distort what we perceive. Example: a blue object under yellow light might appear green, raising questions about the reliability of color perception. Socrates uses such examples to argue that perception is influenced by changing conditions and cannot serve as a stable foundation for knowledge. 4. Philosophical context. Perception in Greek thought. Socrates' critique ties into broader philosophical debates. Protagoras' relativism. Protagoras believed perception defined reality, but Socrates highlights the inconsistencies in this view. Heraclitus versus Parmenides. Heraclitus argued that the world is in constant flux, aligning with the variability of perception. Parmenides insisted on an unchanging reality, challenging the trustworthiness of the senses. Socrates positions perception as an entry point to understanding, but insists that knowledge requires something beyond sensory input. Modern applications of knowledge as perception. 1. Virtual reality, VR. Advances in VR technology illustrate how easily perception can be manipulated. In VR, users experience environments that feel real but are entirely artificial. Example: a VR user perceives themselves walking on a beach, though they are physically in their living room. 2. Augmented reality, AR. AR blends digital elements with the physical world, creating perceptions that challenge traditional notions of reality. Example: AR applications like Pokemon Go overlay fictional elements onto real-world environments. 3. Memory and perception. Studies show that perception is often intertwined with memory, which can distort the truth. Example: a person recalling an event may perceive it differently than it actually occurred due to emotional or cognitive biases. Thought experiments to explore perception. 1. The ship on the horizon. Imagine observing a ship at sea. From a distance, it appears small, but as it approaches, its size becomes clear. This illustrates how perception changes based on perspective and proximity, challenging its reliability as a source of knowledge. 2. The mirage in the desert. A thirsty traveler perceives water on the horizon, only to discover it is a mirage. This gap between perception and reality raises questions about the validity of sensory experiences. 3. The refraction of light. When light bends as it passes through water, it creates the illusion of a distorted object. This phenomenon highlights the limits of relying solely on perception. Socrates dismantles the definition of knowledge as perception by showing its reliance on subjective, variable, and often flawed sensory experiences. While perception provides the raw material for understanding, it lacks the stability, universality, and reasoning required for true knowledge. In an age of misinformation and illusions, understanding the limits of perception is critical. Example: deepfake videos can manipulate visual perception, leading to false beliefs. Scientific discovery begins with observation, perception, but relies on experimentation and reasoning to establish knowledge. Ethical decision-making requires moving beyond subjective perceptions to consider universal principles. Knowledge as perception is a compelling idea, but ultimately insufficient. By highlighting the flaws of perception, Socrates challenges us to seek deeper foundations for understanding. This sets the stage for the next phase of the dialogue: knowledge as true belief, where the discussion moves beyond the senses to explore the alignment of belief with reality. Let's continue our journey through Plato's Theaetetus, a dialogue that dives deep into the nature of knowledge. In the first phase, we saw how perception, though essential, falls short of being the foundation of knowledge. Now Theaetetus proposes another bold idea: knowledge is true belief. This claim feels intuitive. After all, isn't knowledge simply about believing something that's true? But as Socrates demonstrates, the distinction between true belief and knowledge is far more complex. Beliefs can align with reality, yet still fail to qualify as knowledge if they lack depth, reasoning, or understanding. In this section, we'll explore why true belief, despite being closer to knowledge than perception, remains incomplete. Along the way, we'll uncover examples from ancient philosophy and modern life that challenge our assumptions and expand our understanding. Core analysis: knowledge as true belief. 1. The nature of belief and truth. Theaetus' definition combines two essential components: belief, a personal conviction that something is true. Example: a person believes that exercising regularly improves health. Truth, the correspondence of a statement or belief with reality. Example: the fact that regular exercise reduces the risk of heart disease aligns with scientific evidence. Socrates questions whether these two elements alone are sufficient for knowledge. Can belief, even when true, stand as knowledge without justification? Socrates introduces scenarios where a belief aligns with truth purely by coincidence. The traveler's shortcut. A traveler believes a specific road leads to their destination without evidence. If the road is correct, the belief is true but accidental, lacking the reasoning required for knowledge. The student's guess. A student guesses the correct answer to a test question. While their belief is true, it is not based on understanding or reasoning. Modern example: weather predictions. Someone believes it will rain tomorrow based on a hunch. If it rains, the belief is true but coincidental, not knowledge. Stock market success. An investor predicts a stock will rise based on intuition. If the stock performs well, the belief is true but not grounded in analysis. Socrates uses the analogy of a jury to highlight the limitations of true belief. 1. A jury reaches a verdict based on emotional persuasion rather than evidence. 2. If the verdict aligns with reality, it is true but not knowledge because it lacks justification. 3. This distinction emphasizes the fragility of beliefs not grounded in reasoning. Protagoras' relativism aligns with the variability of beliefs. Socrates critiques this perspective, arguing that beliefs, even when true, require reasoning to achieve stability. Plato's theory of forms suggests that true knowledge must transcend belief, accessing universal truths that go beyond subjective perspectives. Aristotle distinguished between episteme, scientific knowledge, and doxa, belief or opinion, highlighting the importance of reasoning and evidence in moving from belief to knowledge. Challenges to true belief in modern contexts. 1. Misinformation in the digital age. True beliefs can arise from coincidental alignment with reality, but may lack critical scrutiny. Example: a social media user shares a meme that happens to be factually correct, despite not verifying its accuracy. 2. Superstition versus science. Superstitions often produce true beliefs that lack justification. Example: a person avoids walking under a ladder and avoids bad luck, but the outcome is unrelated to the superstition itself. 3. AI and predictive models. Artificial intelligence systems often make accurate predictions, true beliefs, without transparency in their reasoning. This raises questions about whether such predictions qualify as knowledge. The stopped clock problem. A clock stops at 9 a.m. A person checks the clock at exactly 9 a.m. and believes it's 9 a.m. The belief is true but accidental, lacking justification. The blindfolded archer. An archer fires an arrow blindfolded. If the arrow hits the target, the success is coincidental, not based on skill. The true belief that the target was hit lacks reasoning. The lottery paradox. A person believes they won't win the lottery because the odds are low. This belief is statistically true but not based on certainty or knowledge. Socrates identifies key weaknesses in true belief as a definition of knowledge. 1. Lack of understanding. A belief may align with reality yet lack the reasoning required for comprehension. Example, a person believes a medication works without knowing how or why. 2. Coincidental truths. Beliefs that are true by chance undermine their reliability. 3. Instability of beliefs. Beliefs not grounded in evidence are more susceptible to change, making them less reliable than knowledge. Applications in real life. 1. Scientific discoveries by intuition. Many scientific breakthroughs begin as true beliefs based on intuition, but they only qualify as knowledge after being rigorously tested. Example, early astronomers believed the Earth revolved around the sun but lacked the justification provided by later evidence. 2. Eyewitness testimonies in law. Witnesses often provide true beliefs about events, but these beliefs may lack justification due to memory biases or limited perspectives. 3. Medical diagnoses by guesswork. A doctor might correctly diagnose an illness based on intuition. While the belief is true, it is not knowledge without justification from tests or evidence. Broader reflections on true belief. 1. Ethical implications. Distinguishing between true belief and knowledge is critical in areas like law, medicine, and politics, where decisions have significant consequences. 2. Philosophy and critical thinking. Socrates' critique underscores the importance of questioning assumptions and seeking justification, promoting intellectual rigor. 3. The transition to justified true belief. By exposing the limitations of true belief, Socrates sets the stage for the next definition: justified true belief, where reasoning and evidence take center stage. Conclusion for Phase 2. True belief brings us closer to the essence of knowledge but remains incomplete without justification. Socrates' critique reveals the fragility and instability of beliefs not grounded in reasoning, pushing the discussion toward a more robust understanding. In the next phase, we'll explore justified true belief, the most sophisticated definition yet, and examine whether it can truly capture the nature of knowledge. We now arrive at the third and most refined definition of knowledge in Plato's Theaetetus: justified true belief. This definition builds upon the strengths of true belief while addressing its weaknesses by introducing justification as a critical component. Justification is what separates knowledge from lucky guesses or coincidences. It demands that a belief not only align with reality, but also be supported by evidence, reasoning, or logical coherence. At first glance, this seems to resolve the problems identified in the previous definitions. However, as Socrates demonstrates, even justified true belief has its vulnerabilities. In this section, we'll explore the nuances of justified true belief, unravel its challenges, and examine its relevance in modern contexts, from artificial intelligence to legal systems and beyond. Core components of justified true belief. For a belief to qualify as knowledge under this definition, it must meet 3 criteria. 1. Truth. The belief must correspond to reality. Example, the belief that water freezes at 30 degrees Celsius aligns with observable reality. 2. Belief. The individual must sincerely hold the belief. Example, a scientist must genuinely believe in their hypothesis to claim it as knowledge. 3. Justification. The belief must be supported by sound reasoning or evidence. Example, a doctor's diagnosis is justified through test results, symptoms, and medical knowledge. Why justification is crucial. 1. Avoiding coincidence. Justification ensures that beliefs are not true by accident. Example, a person believes there will be an earthquake tomorrow. If an earthquake occurs, the belief is true but coincidental without justification. 2. Building reliability. Justified beliefs are more stable and reliable than unjustified ones. 3. Encouraging critical thinking. Requiring justification promotes intellectual rigor and prevents the acceptance of superficial truths. Challenges to justified true belief. Socrates reveals several problems with this definition. 1. The problem of accidental justification. A belief can meet all three criteria, truth, belief, and justification, yet fail to be knowledge due to flawed or accidental justification. The stopped clock problem. A clock stops at 9 a.m. A person checks the clock at 9:00 a.m. and believes it's 9 a.m. The belief is true and justified by the clock, but it is not knowledge because the justification is coincidental. The sheep in the field problem. A farmer sees a white shape in a field and believes it to be a sheep. The shape is actually a rock, but a real sheep is hidden elsewhere. The belief is true and justified but not knowledge because the justification is accidental. 2. Infinite regress of justifications. Socrates questions whether every justification requires its own justification, creating an infinite regress. Example: belief in the reliability of science is justified by scientific success. However, this justification relies on further beliefs, which also require justification. 3. Subjectivity and justification. Justification may vary across individuals or cultures, raising questions about its objectivity. Example: a religious believer may justify their faith through divine revelation, while a skeptic demands empirical evidence. Socrates' critique anticipates the challenges later formalized by Edmund Gettier, who demonstrated that justified true belief is not sufficient for knowledge. 1. The Gettier problem. Gettier's famous thought experiments reveal scenarios where justified true belief fails to qualify as knowledge. The stopped clock. A person believes the correct time based on a stopped clock, meeting all three criteria but lacking true justification. The fake barn scenario. A traveler sees a barn in a countryside full of fake barns. The barn they observe happens to be real, but their belief is justified by chance, not knowledge. 2. Applications in AI and predictive systems. Algorithms can make accurate predictions, true beliefs, based on data patterns, but lack transparency in their justification. This raises ethical questions about their reliability as knowledge. Modern examples of justified true belief. 1. Scientific discoveries. Example: Einstein's theory of relativity was justified through mathematical reasoning and experimental validation, making it a paradigm of justified true belief. 2. Legal evidence. Example: a jury's verdict is justified by evidence and testimony. However, wrongful convictions show that justification can sometimes fail. 3. Medical diagnoses. Example: a doctor diagnoses a patient based on symptoms and test results. If the diagnosis is correct, it constitutes justified true belief. The lottery paradox. A person believes they will not win the lottery based on the low probability. This belief is true and justified by statistical reasoning, but does not constitute knowledge due to the uncertainty inherent in probabilities. The detective's case. A detective believes a suspect is guilty based on circumstantial evidence. If the suspect is guilty for unrelated reasons, the belief is justified and true, but not knowledge. The reflected shadow. A person sees a shadow on the wall and believes it belongs to a tree. The belief is true, but the shadow is caused by a nearby sculpture, not the tree. Applications of justified true belief. 1. In science, scientific theories are often considered justified true beliefs. However, they remain subject to revision as new evidence emerges. Example: Newton's laws were justified within their observational limits, but were later revised by Einstein's relativity. 2. In law, legal systems rely on justified true belief to establish guilt or innocence. However, evidence must be critically examined to avoid miscarriages of justice. 3. In artificial intelligence, AI systems operate on data-driven justified true beliefs, but the opacity of algorithms raises questions about their justification. Broader implications of justified true belief. 1. The role of evidence and reasoning. Socrates emphasizes that knowledge requires more than belief and truth. It demands a robust foundation of evidence and reasoning. 2. The dynamic nature of knowledge. Justified true belief highlights that knowledge is not static, but evolves as new evidence and perspectives emerge. 3. Ethical and practical considerations. Understanding the limitations of justified true belief is crucial in areas like medicine, law, and technology, where decisions have far-reaching consequences. Conclusion for Phase 3. Justified true belief represents the most sophisticated definition of knowledge explored in Theaetetus. While it addresses many of the weaknesses of perception and true belief, Socrates demonstrates its vulnerabilities. particularly accidental justification and infinite regress. This critique reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is a dynamic, ongoing process that requires humility, rigor, and an openness to complexity. In the final phase, we'll reflect on Socrates' conclusions and explore the broader implications of Theaetetus for philosophy, critical thinking, and modern life. After journeying through Plato's Theaetetus, we arrive at an important realization. Socrates does not answer the central question, what is knowledge? Instead, he leaves it unresolved, a deliberate and profound choice. This is not a failure of philosophy, but its very essence. Socrates teaches us that knowledge is not a static possession or a final destination. It is a dynamic process, one that thrives on inquiry, reflection, and an embrace of uncertainty. In this conclusion, we'll revisit the key definitions explored in Theaetetus, examine their modern relevance, and uncover the enduring wisdom of Socratic philosophy. Revisiting the three definitions: knowledge as perception. Theaetetus' first definition ties knowledge to sensory experience. While perception plays a crucial role in understanding the world, Socrates demonstrates its limitations. Subjectivity and variability. Perception changes from person to person and under different conditions. Fallibility of the senses. Optical illusions and sensory biases highlight that perception alone cannot be the foundation of knowledge. Modern example. In virtual reality, users experience environments that feel real but are entirely artificial, showcasing the fallibility of perception. Knowledge is true belief. The second definition shifts from sensory experience to alignment with reality, proposing that knowledge is simply believing something true. Socrates critiques this view by emphasizing the problem of coincidental truth. Accidental beliefs, a guess or hunch, may align with reality, but lacks the depth required for knowledge. Fragility of belief. Without justification, true beliefs are unstable and easily revised. Modern example, an investor guesses that a stock will rise and is proven correct. While the belief is true, it is not knowledge because it lacks justification. Knowledge as justified true belief. The third definition introduces justification as a safeguard against accidental truth. While this refinement strengthens the definition, Socrates highlights its vulnerabilities. Accidental justifications. Beliefs can be justified by flawed reasoning or coincidences, e.g., the stopped clock problem. Infinite regress. If every justification requires its own justification, the process never ends. Modern example. In legal systems, justified beliefs based on incomplete evidence can lead to wrongful convictions, showing the limitations of justification. Socrates' reflections, why the question is left unanswered. 1. The complexity of knowledge. Socrates shows that knowledge resists simple definitions. It is multifaceted, evolving, and deeply connected to the limitations of human cognition. 2. The value of inquiry. By leaving the question open, Socrates invites Theaetetus and the audience to continue exploring. Philosophy becomes a journey rather than a conclusion. 3. The power of uncertainty. Acknowledging ignorance is not a weakness but a strength. It fosters intellectual humility and opens the door to deeper understanding. 1. Knowledge as a process. Socrates reframes knowledge as an ongoing journey rather than a fixed endpoint. This dynamic perspective encourages lifelong learning and critical thinking. 2. The role of dialogue. Plato's use of dialogue underscores the importance of conversation in refining ideas and uncovering truths. 3. The search for meaning. The dialogue challenges us to reflect on fundamental questions. What do we truly know? How do we know it? What remains beyond our understanding? In the information age, the lessons of Theaetetus are especially relevant in a world of misinformation and rapid technological change. Socrates' emphasis on justification and critical reasoning serves as a guide for navigating complex information landscapes. Deepfake videos and AI-generated content challenge our ability to distinguish truth from illusion, making justification more critical than ever. In education, teaching students to differentiate between perception, belief, and knowledge fosters critical thinking and intellectual independence. Encouraging students to question assumptions and seek evidence cultivates a deeper understanding of the world. In ethical decision-making, the principles of justification and reasoning are essential in fields like law, medicine, and technology, where decisions have far-reaching consequences. AI algorithms often produce justified predictions, but the opacity of their processes raises ethical questions about their reliability as knowledge. Socrates' challenge to us. Socrates leaves Theaetetus and us with a profound challenge: to question assumptions. How often do we accept beliefs without examining their validity? To seek understanding. Are we content with surface-level truths, or do we strive for deeper comprehension? To embrace inquiry. Can we live a philosophical life, constantly questioning, learning, and growing? The enduring legacy of Plato's Theaetetus remains a timeless exploration of the human pursuit of knowledge. It reminds us that 1. Knowledge is a journey. The pursuit of knowledge is more valuable than arriving at definitive answers. 2. Uncertainty is a strength. Embracing uncertainty fosters humility and intellectual curiosity. 3. Philosophy is essential. In a world of complexity and change, philosophy provides a framework for navigating life's challenges. As we conclude this journey through Plato's Theaetetus, we are reminded of Socrates' timeless wisdom. Knowledge is not a destination, it's a lifelong process. This dialogue invites us to question, reflect, and embrace uncertainty, knowing that the pursuit of truth is what defines us as thinkers. So what do you think knowledge truly is? Does it begin with perception, belief, justification, or something entirely different? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this exploration inspired you, support our journey at FactUp Realm by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with others who seek to think differently. Until next time, let's keep questioning, learning, and embracing the philosophical journey. See you in the next video.